If you're an Nvidia shareholder or you ever thought about investing in Nvidia, this is the last time you're ever going to see these prices on Nvidia. Of course, we had the DeepSeek AI news, which crashed Nvidia, definitely shook out some weak hands, but we just had a overall tech crash that really affected Nvidia and other stocks in the tech sector and basically wiped out all of the remaining weak hands in Nvidia. So I believe this is the last chance you're going to be able to get Nvidia at a discount. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing in Nvidia and why I think it's going much higher in the long term. So let's go ahead and jump into it. As you can see, the portfolio had quite a rebound today, up 27K, about 4.5%. But we don't care about these numbers in the short term because obviously, while the market's coming down, portfolio values are coming down. You just want to make sure that you are collecting premium from selling options, covered calls, and buying more shares and buying more leaps, which is exactly what me and my clients did during this downturn. Now, before we jump into it, make sure to hit the like button if you enjoy this video. And also, if you do want to work directly with me, you can click that first link down below in the description. Also, I do give away free trade ideas on my Instagram and my free newsletter, which are both down in the links below in the description. So let's talk about Nvidia. First, I'm going to talk about some news around Nvidia, some catalysts going forward, and then we're also going to dive into the charts, and I'm going to show you some price levels, and then we'll talk strategy, okay? Now, Nvidia trading at 121 today, up about 5.27%. One of the strongest stocks in the markets as of today, okay? We saw a huge crash, and Nvidia actually has been recovering stronger than most stocks, especially in the tech sector. And as you can see, it's one of the best valued stocks with a price to earnings ratio under 40 now, in the 30s, which is absolutely crazy. I never thought I would see Nvidia, the PE ratio, in the 30s, and right now it's at 39. So it's at a massive discount here. They're increasing their net margins every single quarter, more revenue, more net income. In fact, last quarter, their net margin, profit margin was 56% with net income of $22.09 billion. Okay, so you are getting a company that has tons of cash and tons of cash flow that can weather the worst of storms. So that's why I love Nvidia. Let's talk about some catalysts. We do have their GTC conference coming up on Monday. That's a huge conference. Basically, it's a week long. It's a GPU technology conference held in San Jose, California, where CEO Jensen Huang will actually be speaking on Tuesday. So he is expected to showcase the Blackwell Ultra chips, okay, a family of chips with which Deutsche Bank analysts said is expected to deliver over 50% more capacity, significantly higher performance than its earlier Blackwell offering. So he'll be talking about that, new artificial intelligence chips, upcoming releases, and developments in gaming and robotics. We usually see the stock perform very well around this GTC conference, so I'm very excited for this to happen, especially since the overall market is still down very significantly. So let's go ahead and dive into the charts. I'm going to show you QQQ right here because this is what I look at when, tracking the individual stocks that I'm in, because most of the time the market will dictate where your individual stocks are going to head. And as you can see right now, if I pull up kind of a price range from all-time highs back on February 21st, we are still down about 11% on NASDAQ, okay, on the NASDAQ 100. So we are still in correction territory here with, it's looking a lot better, but we definitely felt the pain, okay? Now, what I like about this chart is that, we did see down here, we kind of had a dead cat bounce right here, okay? But what we're seeing right now is not a dead cat bounce. If you thought this was one of those bounces, it's definitely not, okay? We're seeing some consolidation here and some exhaustion of sellers, okay? The people that were short the market, they were getting out right here and right here. There's really not much more downside for them in comparison to the upside risk because, basically we can rip upwards like this, okay? And the shorts will get smacked. So they're not trying to risk, a 3% down move, right? For a potential 5 to 7% up move risk. So that's what I'm saying is an exhaustion of sellers. We were very oversold on the RSI, as you could see. And we just made a bullish crossover on the RSI. So I'm liking that. I'm liking this candle here and the volume of buyers today. So we'll see if on Monday we can open up higher, which I do expect, because if I analyze VIX, this is also what helps me allocate cash. You could see that VIX is getting crushed, okay? This is the fear and volatility index of the S&P 500. But I look at this because usually when we are spiking above 20 on the VIX, okay, that's a time where you start placing your bets. And I've been placing my bets for this whole time, you know, and I was basically fully allocated when VIX was around 24. And of course, we spiked to almost 30. But now VIX has been really retracing and coming back down. And every time we see that in the past, okay, when VIX gets crushed, it goes back down and the market rallies. If we look back in August, what happened, right? We breached the lower Bollinger Band, became oversold on the RSI, and then the VIX got crushed. Okay, and the market ripped back up. And that's basically what I'm expecting right here, because if we look at, basically, I want to show you this dead cat bounce per se, and we'll talk about that, okay? Basically what happened on February 28th to March 3rd, we had a March 3rd open higher, okay? But what we saw on the VIX was actually, that didn't reflect that, okay? We had here, which was February 28th, this candle, but the VIX went higher on that Monday open, okay? So the VIX was only climbing higher, but what we're seeing right now is a strong downtrend on VIX. So I think that the bears are done, and I think the bottom is in, okay? Of course, anything could happen. Some news could come out. Maybe President Trump says something to cause this market to, go down to 448 on QQQ, but that's a low probability. So what we're playing right now is a higher probability bet of getting long right here, okay? So why do I like Nvidia? Well, if you look at the chart of QQQ, we kind of had this hockey stick type move with a little consolidation here. But if you look at Nvidia, which has already been very beat up after the DeepSeek news, we rallied, and then this crash just absolutely tanked this thing. It's not a hockey stick type consolidation. This thing had a bounce, right? But it held the bounce and is making new highs, okay? New weekly highs. This is what we want to see. All right, so this right here is basically telling me that the leaders in this industry and tech are now being bought. They're being bought up and the bulls are stepping in, okay? We have a large kind of crossover here on the RSI and we're heading much higher. And I think on Monday, Nvidia will open up potentially to 123, 125 area. We'll see, could trade sideways from here until Wednesday, but I do expect a higher open on Monday, okay? Nvidia is looking very strong. So we do have a lot of resistance here at 130, and we'll see if later next week we can breach this number and start heading higher, which is a definite possibility, which, that may happen, or we kind of trend higher from here in a longer time frame perspective, back up to this 152 area, which was the overall high on Nvidia. And I do think we'll get there. I think it will take some time. It's not going to happen tomorrow or maybe in a month. It might happen in a couple months, but I do think we are headed back that way if we could get above this 130 next week. So that is my area there. Now, how am I playing this? Well, if we go into my account, okay, I'm already pretty heavy here in Nvidia. I have a lot of call options that are underwater because I bought these when Nvidia was trading around 140. All right, so I'm underwater on these, but these are leaps options. They expire in 280 days, so I have plenty of time. I bought these back in January, so I'll just hold these until I'm break even or at a slight profit and close them out and sell some cash secured puts, which is the strategy that I prefer because I could have been collecting income this whole time with the $17,000 that I paid instead of just waiting and being underwater. So as you can see right here, I have 5 cash secured puts that expire next month at the 119 strike. I'm already up 39%, $2,169 out of the 5,400. All right, so when these get to full profit, I'll close these out. And what I would do right now is a super safe trade. I would go out to April 17th, 34 days out, and I just go to the 24 to 33 delta. If you go to 115, you're going to be very safe, okay? 115 is basically, that's going to get you right here. All right. So we're, pretty far down below the stock. If you want to be even safer, you can go to the 110 strike. All right. So let's calculate the differences on how much premium you're collecting in just over 30 days. So if you sell the 110, you're going to collect 287 divided by 110. All right. That's a 2.6% return. So not bad there. Definitely not the highest return. And that's why I like to go a little heavier and closer delta on Nvidia, because it's a more volatile stock. So you got to take the risk here. So 33 delta is a much better strike. Full 40 divided by 115 equals 3.8% return. That's a much better return on an annualized basis. That's about 45%. If you compound monthly, it's probably closer to 50%. And I like this because worst case scenario, you get assigned at 115, but you're still near the bottom. You're still below this middle Bollinger Band line. You're still, on the lower end of the RSI of oversold, okay? So that is not a bad place to be if you did get assigned in 34 days, which I don't think is very likely. So right now, that's a good bet. That's a safe cash secured put play, but I'm going to show you a leaps option play that I would do if you wanted to get more aggressive and leverage up your money. So what I would do is go out to March 20th, 2026. Make sure you're giving yourself enough time, adequate time to be right. And the reason I like going out that far is because there's less theta decay, okay? And what that means, these options that you purchase, these call options, are wasting away every single day. Now, if you went out like 60 days, okay, let's go to the 70 delta. We'll just go to the 110s. These are wasting away about $7.65 every single day that goes by, all right? Versus you buy the 70 delta, the 110s here on March 20th of next year, and these are decaying about $3.50. So you're literally decaying 50% less on these options, which is why I like to pay for time, because these things take time to play out. So I would feel safe in the 110 strike, and you'd pay $3,200, right? Instead of buying 100 shares right now for $12,150, all right? So you're definitely getting a discount here. You're basically leveraging up your money. You're getting controlling 100 shares for a third of the price. So I like this strike. If you wanted to play these right now, these would be safe, okay? These would be safe for an entry on Monday, even if Nvidia opens up at $125. I think that these would be a safe play. Let's talk about exit plan. So for the cash secured puts, you could wait till expiration. As long as it doesn't go below 115, you're going to be collecting that premium and closing it out. If it does go below, then okay, you get assigned the shares, but you still get paid that premium. So cash secured puts are way less management. I prefer those, okay? But what about the leaps option? Like, how would I play that? Okay, let's just say on Monday we open up at 125. I decide to grab those 110s or 115s. Okay, those leaps options. What I would do is I would exit when we get above like 135. This would be my exit point, okay? I would play this for a quick kind of, not scalp, but a quick swing trade. Obviously, you're giving yourself enough time to be right, less theta decay on the calls. But once we get up past there, okay, the next kind of point of resistance would be the 140 level. So you'd want to basically anticipate that we are going to bounce off of this 140 level and have some resistance there. So I'd be selling, 135, 136, 137, somewhere around that point before we get to that 140 level. Take that money and that profit and then go ahead and sell a 127 or 125 cash secured put. And now you're collecting income. And if the stock does go back down to 125, at least you could get assigned at a discount there, okay? So that's how I like to play the leaps. I like to kind of be in and out, make my few $1,000 profit, maybe 20, 30% profit, get out, use that money to then sell some cash secured puts. So I love Nvidia at this point. It's held a long-term trend, okay? So I was looking at this as kind of a crucial point. I said, if we break down below this and we actually do go below 100, that is not a good technical sign for Nvidia. That is kind of the start of a downtrend for Nvidia, just like AMD had, right? But it held this long-term trend line that we started back here, October 2023, okay? And it held that, and now it's above this shorter trend line that started back here in February of 2024 of last year. So I'm glad that we kind of breached there, bounced off it, and headed back up, because that was really a crucial line for me to say, okay, is this stock, sure, the fundamentals are great, but is the investor sentiment just like Nvidia doesn't have more growth ahead of it, or, you know, what have you. So it just, that point kind of made me a little nervous, but we've rallied quite a bit. And of course, Nvidia has very strong shareholders like me and you, and strong investor sentiment and tons of free cash flow. So great company to be in. Now, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the little update, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to upload 2 more videos tomorrow and Sunday, which will be educational. So I hope you enjoy those. And I'll link another one right here, and take care.